the port of Juneau, and as you can see, there's absolutely no ships here at all, and there's not going to be through all of summer 2021. That's because Transport Canada has placed a ban on cruise ships stopping in Canadian waters. That influences the U.S. cruise season due to old regulations.
I'm asking the CDC to give Alaska some due consideration now, because our tourist season, our cruise ship season needs to have an answer now. We're running out of time. And so we are going to do anything and everything we can to encourage the CDC to come up with some decisions that make sense for this state.
So two things need to happen for Juneau. The CDC needs to come up with guidelines that the cruise ships can actually follow, and Canada needs to lift their no-sail order. What we're afraid of the most is not only just the amount of revenue coming in, but more and more businesses will go out. And as businesses go out of business, who will replace them? Will it be the mom and pop and the local flavor of Juneau, or will it be big industry coming in? And that's probably one of our biggest fears.
Now, the CDC has taken steps with the first condition. The agency has said that it is working with the cruise lines to allow sailing to resume from U.S. home ports by mid-July. But the second part, where the ships coming into Alaska either need a waiver of the Passenger Vessel Services Act or an agreement with Canada to allow them to stop there, still needs to happen for cruising to resume here. Meanwhile, small businesses in Juneau and other Inside Passage towns that rely on cruise tourism, such as Sitka, are struggling.
When people think of the cruise industry, they think of these big, massive companies in these big ships, but they don't realize that every one of those ships and those businesses contract with small, independent operators all over the world. And Juneau's no different. All the businesses that service the visitors that come here are owned by people who live here.
I'm Eric Faust, and we're at the world-famous Red Dog Saloon in Juneau, Alaska. There's no other way to put it. It's been absolutely devastating. I mean, we normally would be hosting, thousands of people a day. We'd have a full house. The place would be completely packed. We'd have musicians playing all day, and I'd be employing about 50 people. So currently we are employing about 6 people.
Summer we were scheduled to have a little over 300,000 cruise ship passengers, and as of right now we will have 0 from large ships.
Now we do have some small ship cruising coming back this year, but as far as the large ships, which are the vast majority of the economic influx, we're now looking, hopefully, at May of 2022. So that's a 31-month stretch, well over 90% revenue loss, 96%, and just need to do all we can to get back and get people traveling, especially with the great vaccine news that's rolling out. Well, there's a lot of pent-up demand, and now that they're vaccinated, with our testing protocols and the masks, we feel really confident that the cruise industry can be really healthy and really successful.
So next year, if we don't get some big ships, I worry, not just for me, but for our city's economy, because we thrive on tourism and the dollars that visitors bring into our community.
And with 0 cruise ship passengers, the loss of revenue for private businesses is large, and then the sales tax revenue that the city gets from the cruise ship passengers is also significantly reduced.
We're hoping that things move fast and we might be able to see something in July and August, but if things don't move fast, we're not going to see anything, and that will be pretty devastating again for Juneau.
In 2020, it felt like, nobody went untouched in this pandemic, right? We were all in this together, and everybody has a story. But at this point, as other areas in local communities, states, throughout the nation, as some sort of normalcy is regained, we're still sitting here not finding our normal back. We're still at a stop.
Yeah.
I think people have forgotten about Alaska. I think that people are actually very eager to come to Alaska, and I think that Alaska will be one of the places that they are going to come this summer, because you don't need a passport, you can fly in, and it's easy to get to, and it's still an exotic destination. So I think people love that. What I do think is that cruisers think they can't get here because they're not coming on a cruise, and they forget that it's only a 2-hour flight from Seattle. You can still come to Juneau. All the things are still here. We can't wait to see you. And we're gonna make it an amazing experience when you get here because we're all standing here waiting to serve you.
And that's an important point. If you really want to cruise in Alaska this summer, there are small ship cruise lines that are operating. Options include Uncruise Adventures, Lindblad, American Cruise Lines, and Alaskan Dream Cruises.
The thing about traveling to Alaska in 2021 is that you're not going to see the big cruise ships here, so it's really going to be unspoiled with fewer people than ever before. Right now, there's no one here. Granted, it's April, but we know that this summer, Alaska's going to need tourism. There's just not going to be as many people, so you're going to have the place almost all to yourself.